Dude, this is pretty wild. So apparently, the property owners for Conan, which is Paradox Publishing or Entertainment, which isn't the same company as the Paradox that does the video games, although they were the same company like 20 years ago, it's complicated. It's complicated. But this is the same Paradox that published like the Cult RPG back in, was that the late 90s, early 2000s, and some other material too. And apparently they have the rights to all the Conan stories, which I don't know how that happened. Stuff that this old, just kind of goes around and gets passed around and stuff. But they have the licenses, and they're not renewing the license with Marvel. I find that kind of weird. I mean, this didn't last that long. What, 2.5 years, 3 years, something like that? Just long enough for the first Savage Avengers run to finish, and then they started the new Savage Avengers run, which I saw the cover. It has Conan on it, so I presume Conan's going to be in it, but maybe only the first issue or something. I don't know. It doesn't say in this article. I think it just says like the rights to the Savage Avengers Conan is kind of up in the air. So maybe Conan will still be in some Marvel books, but not the Marvel Conan books because they're going away. But he won't be in other Marvel books. Which, to be fair, that's kind of like the status of Conan, back in the day. Because he was part of the Marvel Universe back in the 80s. He was published by Marvel. I have some of those books. Why Marvel ever let that license go, I'm not sure. That seems like a mistake because you could have just kept on publishing Conan books all through the 90s and 2000s, just like Dark Horse did when they got hold of the license. The other thing that this book talks about is Ablaze Comics' The Sumerian titles, which are Conan stories with the Conan name stripped off because of trademark reasons, not copyright reasons. Just because something is out of copyright doesn't mean it's not trademarked. So, for example, like Disney, if Steamboat Willie ever gets to fall out of copyright, Disney will still own Mickey Mouse because they have a trademark on Mickey Mouse. They just won't have the sole ownership of the rights to Steamboat Willie anymore. Like, that'll be public domain, but the character's still trademarked by them, just like Conan is still trademarked, even as some of the Conan stories in some parts of the world are starting to fall out of copyright. So I just thought that was kind of neat that, this is happening. Like, I didn't expect this to happen. I figured Marvel would have the books for like a good 10 years, but I'm wrong. Totally wild. Oh, here we go. Both companies controlled by CEO Frederick Malmberg, previously co-founder of Swedish role-playing game publishing house Target Games, CEO of Paradox Entertainment. And I think that's not the Paradox that's the video game stuff. I think that's the Paradox that is the book publisher that used to publish things. It's a complicated situation, man. Copyright law, trademark law, these things are very complicated, and that's why we got to hire lawyers to look at them. But just a neat bit of news that if you were really digging the Marvel Conan stuff, it's over. The train ride is done. Get off, go home. Well, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You all take care of yourselves. You have a great one, and bye-bye.